Convicted murderer and rapist Thabo Bester is expected to join proceedings virtually as all 8 co-accused appear at the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court today. Bester's partner, Dr. Nandipha Makutumane, her father, Zolile Sikeleni, G4S prison warders Sinohe Motswara and Theo Makotsa, and Anastasia Jansen, CCTV technician Tebogo Dipolo, and Basti Masemola face charges of aiding and abetting Bester's brazen prison escape last year. The couple was arrested and deported from Tanzania last month. Our reporters Slindelo, Masikane and Pule Letshwiti-Jones are following up on the story, and they are in and outside of court. Slee, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, a much anticipated bail appearance this morning. Just give us the details of what we can expect.
Certainly so. We are inside the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court precinct, where we are expecting court proceedings to begin just after 9 a.m. this morning. We are expecting the main matter, of course, to be postponed. Very brief proceedings in that particular matter, and that is because, of course, we are expecting a postponement, and that is why we don't see Thabo Bester appearing physically here in the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court. And that is also because the Department of Correctional Services making an application last week for Bester to appear virtually, due to the fact that it's just not going to be any type of lengthy proceedings. We are seeing just pre-trial proceedings taking place, as well as bail applications. And so we are expecting that Zolile Sikeleni, that is Dr. Nandipha's father, will, unlike the other co-accused, be walking through the gates of the Magistrate's Court, and that is because he is on 10,000 Rand bail. His daughter, Dr. Nandipha, has reserved her right to apply for bail. But to unpack the proceedings that we will be seeing unfolding today, I am joined by a legal expert, Advocate Inez Bezadenhout from the University of the Free State. Thank you so much for your time. Maybe let's unpack this virtual appearance. Many on social media quite disappointed that Bester and Dr. Nandipha won't be reunited in the dock. Are we seeing some kind of a special treatment perhaps for Thabo Bester?
Good morning, Slee. We are not. The procedure in terms of Section 159B and C of the Criminal Procedure Act makes provision for the postponement of matters through audiovisual link, especially when it's practical. And also, when you expect a case such as this, I can imagine when there's public outcry that this would be in the safety of both the accused as well as the public, eventually to have the proceedings done through audiovisual link.
And of course, we're going to see the continuation of the bail applications of the accused. We're expecting cross-examination of the investigating officer. We've already seen some details coming out of the roles that each of the accused has played. Do you think it's going to be difficult for the defense then to show the court why their clients should be released on bail?
One should remember that the proceedings are more inquisitorial in nature. In other words, the court needs to ascertain enough evidence to make a ruling. So one can expect that the defense, although there's no burden of proof on the defense, that they will have to use evidence to counter what the state has already indicated to court. Remember, the court, the hearsay rules is applicable. There is not so many technical rules applicable as you would find in a normal trial proceedings, but one would expect that they would have to lead evidence to the contrary.
Lastly, then, how much will the court weigh the interests of justice as opposed to public outrage if the accused are released on bail?
It is a proportionality measurement that the court will have to apply, the interest of justice versus the liberty of the accused. But one should take into account, in terms of Section 64E of the Criminal Procedure Act, the court can take into account as a ground for justification why it's not in the interest of justice, public outcry, safety of the public or any particular person.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right, that is Advocate Inez Bezadenhout from the University of the Free State, just giving us some legal analysis in terms of the proceedings that we're going to be seeing unfolding inside the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court just after 9 a.m. this morning. I know my colleague, or our colleague rather, Pule Letshwiti-Jones, is outside of the Bloemfontein Court monitoring proceedings there.
Well, thank you very much, Slee. Outside, I'm joined by the Portfolio Committee Member of Justice, Advocate Glenys Breitenbach, speaking to me this morning. Advocate, thank you very much for joining us. firstly, let's start off by saying why are you here this morning today?
I'm here this morning to see a couple of people in Bloemfontein who have interesting things to tell me.
Yeah. Maybe just take us through the issue of the DA saying the license of Dr. Nandipha Makutubane must be revoked. Is this something the party still stands by?
Well, she's a medical doctor. She abused her position most egregiously in obtaining a variety of bodies that actually belong to other people to try and spring her boyfriend from prison. So, I mean, that's such an egregious abuse of her position. It's a position she was in because she's a medical doctor. And, the Lord alone knows what else she's done in the interim that we're not sure about. She's behaved herself in a fashion that is unprofessional, unbecoming. The conduct is unacceptable for a medical doctor, and absolutely she should be struck off the roll.
What do you make of some actually being disappointed at the fact that serial rapist Thabo Bester will be making his appearance virtually and not in court today?
Well, in COVID, during the COVID period, the courts introduced virtual appearances. It's an efficient way of dealing with court appearances, particularly with inmates who are high risk. He's an escape risk. There can be no doubt about that. That he's well connected is very clear to everybody who wants to see. So, I'm sure there's a certain amount of risk involved in transporting him to and from prison. And a virtual appearance is as acceptable as an in-person appearance. I suppose there are people who would come to court to see him to satisfy a curiosity. But in the general scheme of justice, it doesn't detract from the procedure at all that he appears virtually, and it removes from the equation any risk. So I have no serious problems with it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's, of course, Advocate Glenys Breitenberg, who will be monitoring the proceedings here this morning. She's joined by other colleagues from Democratic Alliance. Also, as a party, we've seen Action SA making an appearance here. We've been consistently coming to court to monitor the proceedings. We're expecting other organizations to be outside today, including fans of the Bloemfontein Celtic fan club, who, of course, have been in solidarity and supporting the Katlego Bering family. And we're also seeing other political parties who will be making their appearance today, coming and staging outside court. It's exactly just about 8:10 in the morning, and we'll be monitoring the situation to see how everything will be unfolding outside, while my colleague Slindelo Masikane will be inside, giving us the blow-by-blow coverage of what is unfolding during these court proceedings.
Thank you so much, Pule, Letshwiti-Jones and Slindelo Masikane outside and inside the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court. Very keen media interest, of course, but Advocate Breitenberg giving us, from a law or legal perspective, what is permissible, especially with Thabo Bester appearing virtually for the bail hearing.